What's it like having a front row seat to watch the fall of one of hockey's most cherished records? Welcome back to Frankly Speaking, presented by Betway. If you're going to place a bet, bet on Betway. 19 plus, please play responsibly. Today's guest on Frankly Speaking, Chris Patrick, general manager of the Washington Capitals, has had a front row seat to the Great Chase, which is now down to single digits for most of the last 17 years. Heck, he's been around the Washington Capitals nearly his entire life. Patrick, who was part of the Caps management team in 2018 when they won the Stanley Cup, is the seventh member of the legendary Patrick family to have his name etched on Lord Stanley's mug. And Patrick, now 49, is in his first season as an NHL general manager, having risen through the ranks after a playing career that ended at Princeton University and also included work in the investment banking field before joining the Caps as a scout and working his way up through the organization. Has had a lot of different experiences along the way, including director of player personnel and also assistant general manager, in which he helped with the team's analytics and player contract negotiations before being promoted to the role last summer. So he's seen a lot of Alex Ovechkin's magic over the last couple decades, and beyond that, he now has a different view of it as the man managing and steering the ship. How's that impacted the Washington Capitals' magical season, which is seeing them challenge for yet another President's Trophy for one of the most successful clubs in the NHL over the last 2+ decades? What might it look like if he's able to knock down that record, the Great Chase, down to single digits before the end of the regular season? What would that impact the team heading into the playoffs? We talked about that and much more in our conversation, including his first experience at the NHL's general managers meeting when we taped our conversation last week in Florida, as well as some of the biggest differences from this year's team to last, the impact of coach Spencer Carbery, the fact that this team in Washington hasn't had to do much sweating this season, pretty comfortably in their spot in the standings, the soon-to-be addition of Ryan Leonard once his season ends at Boston College, and how the Washington Capitals, with the help of Brian McClellan and others, have basically done the toughest thing to do in the sport, which is to remain competitive while also retooling your roster. Here's my conversation with Washington Capitals general manager Chris Patrick. Chris Patrick, you are now in year 17 with the Washington Capitals. You spent your entire life around the team. What's it like having a front row seat to the Great Chase and watching Alex Ovechkin close in on this record?
Incredible, surreal, hard to believe it's actually happening. Felt like a record that was unattainable. And even at the beginning of the year, doing some media at the beginning of the year, and they're asking, could he do it this year? And it's like, man, that's a lot of goals to score, but here we are, 8 away. And it's going to be fun down the stretch to watch and see how it plays out. And just a testament to how incredible he is as a goal scorer, and how he's held up over these years. To be doing this at 39 is pretty incredible.
When do you think you guys first started to kick around the idea internally? Like, not something that would be talked about publicly, but like yourself, when do you first think that you realized this was attainable?
Yeah, I think the way his season started, like he started right off the bat scoring goals, and scoring them in bunches too, multiple goal games. I think within the first 10 or 15 games, it was like, if he's on a pace here, and he tends to always finish stronger than he starts. So if this is his start, then we might be in a good spot here towards the end of the season.
What about going back like 10 years ago?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't really ever on my radar. He just kind of kept hitting off the milestones, and then all of a sudden this becomes, it's in the, on the radar of happening. So it wasn't something that it kind of snuck up on me personally. I don't know for him, maybe it was something more that he saw it coming, but it was, it's incredible to see how he's gotten here.
How do you think your team has handled a lot of this? Like, they're constantly talking about it. I know they're excited, and they, I'm sure, are asked about it a ton, but as all of that's gone on, to play really consistent hockey along the way this year?
Yeah, I think really it started with Alex. Like, he hasn't let this become a distraction. He only just now is kind of talking about it. He hasn't really let let that be the narrative of our team over the last couple seasons. For him, it's always been about winning, about trying to get back to win another Stanley Cup. So when that's his attitude and viewpoint on it, then I think the team just follows behind him and, hey, we're just out here trying to win games, and the goals will happen if they happen. And that's kind of how it's been for them this year.
So when I watch your team, one of the big things that stands out is the energy, and the body language has been really good. Every part of it, it just seems like the vibes, I hate that term, but like the vibes are really good around your team. Obviously, Alex being the leader and, one of the longest tenured guys, or the longest tenured guy, he helps drive that. But where else does that come from? How much of a role does someone like Spencer Carbery play in the energy that surrounds your team?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things. I mean, we had a bunch of new bodies come in this summer, a lot of turnover. And so for me, I think the leadership group, which is, Alex, Tom Wilson, John Carlson, Nick Dowd, Dylan Strome, those guys did a really good job kind of incorporating the new people into our room and into our group. And I think you felt that early on in the even in training camp, that there's just, like you said, like really good vibe with the team. And then Carbs and his staff, I think, did a really good job getting everybody on the same page of how we need to play and what we need to do to be successful as a team, and the kind of detail we have to play with. So huge credit to our leadership group and the guys in the room, and huge credit to Carbs and his staff.
Has this team sweat at any point this season? Like, I remember there was one stretch of time where Spencer Carbery essentially said, like, we need to figure out what we are and whether we're a team that had a good start or whether that's going to continue. But other than that, it's almost been like they've just been rolling.
Yeah. I think you get off to a good start like you did. And then I think a little bit human nature, a little bit kind of self-preservation, the maybe foot comes off the gas a little bit as a player. And Carb saw that and pushed him a little bit, and they responded and kind of got their game back to the level that he expected and we expected. So, I mean, I don't think, I think I wouldn't say there was any. I think Carbs put it perfectly. I don't think we were nervous, but I think we had to make sure we understood where we were as a team and what our identity was, and got back to the way we were playing at the beginning of the season, which they've done. And then down the stretch here, it's been a really good test because we're either having big games against really good teams that are a good challenge for us, or we're having big games against teams that are scratching and clawing to get into the playoffs. So even though, we feel pretty comfortable with our spot in the standings, like every night is a new challenge and new test, and they can't take a night off here down the stretch.
What's it been like working with him, Spencer?
Really good. We had a good relationship. When he was, back to Hershey. When he was in Hershey, I was kind of in charge of the hockey side for the Bears on behalf of the Caps, and was involved in hiring Spencer there. So we worked very, very closely in those days, and was definitely bummed when he left, but understood obviously he had to do the best thing for his career. And so really excited when we got him back. So we're really comfortable with each other. He can be honest with me. I can be honest with him. I think we have similar viewpoints on how we want the team to play and what kind of players we think fits in well, and what our identity needs to be. So, it's a good relationship.
What's that like when you have someone that is good and the timing just isn't right and they walk to go somewhere else? You're like, man, we could have used that guy.
Yeah, it's tough. But I mean, I do think, even on the player personnel side, you think you have something with somebody and it doesn't pan out, but then maybe a few years later they're on your team, or you see a guy as a 17-year-old and be like, man, I wish we could draft this guy, but we're not going to draft high enough. And then, 7 years later, you're trading for him. So yeah, it was kind of one of those things. Well, hey, he's going to go, but I mean, he's not going as the head coach. So maybe there's a chance to bring him back as our head someday. And it actually turned out that way. So it worked out well.
So you guys are doing now what I think is the toughest thing to accomplish in this sport, which is maintain competitiveness, but also retool and get to a spot where, hey, we're taking 2-3 steps forward here. I know this is a big loaded question, but how have you guys done that? Like the drafting and development part that's gone on, and frankly is still going on behind the scenes with what you have in your pipeline, but to be like, you haven't missed the playoffs more than 1 year at any point in the last 17 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of foresight. It's a little bit of luck. It's a little bit of having, an ownership group that trusts your hockey ops group to make the right decisions and the tough decisions. And I think we realized where we were in the life cycle of some of our star players that we had relied on for a lot of years, and knew that we needed to start bringing in some younger bodies, even just outside of the draft, if there's ways to acquire them through trade or signings or what have you. And again, like having an ownership group that's not pressuring you to, hey, we need to make the playoffs. Hey, Ovi needs to do this. Like they left us to make the decisions we thought were the right decisions, and so huge testament to them. And yeah, I think have had a couple of really good drafts here the last 3 years, and helped restock the shelves in that regard. And then been really active on the trade front, trying to bring in guys that are kind of on the younger side of 30, and so far a lot of that has worked out. So we'll keep now adjusting on the fly here now that we got some young players coming, and the team seems to be in a pretty good spot, of adding other pieces that can help push the team, over the hump to the next level, try to win another Stanley Cup.
So a little bit of foresight, a little bit of luck, but also I'd imagine along the way, also some difficult conversations at times. Hey, maybe we need to draw the line here. Maybe we need to move on from some guys that have been critical to our success that are either now getting older, or in some cases with some of the guys you had are hurt and can't do it anymore.
Yeah. And, a couple trade deadlines that weren't a lot of fun, shipping guys out. But yeah. And
you had one trade deadline too, like bringing in Rasmus Sandin.
Yeah.
Like you're not in a competitive space, but you're willing to trade a first round pick to get your hands on a player that you think can help you.
Yeah. And I
think outside the box a little bit.
For sure. I think that's a really good example of understanding of where we were, and having the latitude from ownership to be able to make those types of moves. And I mean, as far as difficult conversations, unfortunately for us, a lot of it's been injury related with some of our older players. So the conversation is more, are they able to do it? Are they able to play at the level they can? Even how are their daily lives? Are they able to live their daily life the way they need to live it? So those are actually really hard discussions as well, because you're talking about the quality of life versus just, hey, you're slowing down and we need to go a different direction. So yeah, it's definitely some pain on that side, but it seems to be heading the right way.
And so for this to all line up at the same time, like I know that the idea, or at least the mantra, the message was, hey, we want to try and be competitive while Alex Ovechkin is on this contract. And I think a lot of us were probably sitting back going, how?
Yeah.
Like, how could you possibly do that and then have it line up with this goal chase at the same time while your team's leading the Eastern Conference? I mean, this is kind of an amazing confluence of events for your team.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't think you get here without a little bit of luck, and obviously made a lot of moves this summer, and I think every single one of them worked out probably better than we hoped or expected they'd work out. We had an idea of how we hoped they would work out, and in every case they've come in and either met or exceeded it. So that's fortunate, because sometimes you make trades and they don't, for whatever reason, work, and you sign guys and it's not always the best fit. So yeah, I mean, I think that's been a huge part of it, and I mean, it's. Some of the guys that have come in have done a really good job at just buying into the system, taking their second chance or third chance for what it is, and really running with it. So, I mean, for me, it's a huge testament to the players and coaching staff where we are now with them, with the way they've come in and worked, and really, I think, surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, and you've given some props to your scouting staff with the drafts and the way that they've gone, but potentially one more addition coming this season in Ryan Leonard. I know he's focused on, helping his team as long as he can, but is he a guy that you believe, when the time is right, can step right into your lineup?
Yeah, he certainly looks like he can. Like, we'll have to see, if he decides to come out after his season here, we'll get a look at him and see how he does. Certainly from what he's done on a big stage internationally against really good competition, he looks like he's ready to come in and have a role. So, we'll let the season play out for him here and take another run at signing him like we did last year, and then see how it goes from there.
Mm-hmm. So you've done just about, it feels like, every job on your path up to becoming general manager in Washington. This is your first sort of full experience at the GM meeting, what's it like sitting in here and seeing your nameplate next to so many others?
Yeah, definitely a little different, a little weird. It's funny you say the nameplate thing, because I was looking at some of the nameplates, and it's like, Lou Lamoriello and
Steve Yzerman, Rob Blake.
And there's like Chris Patrick. Like, what is that doing here? But it's good. This meeting's good because, they broke us into some smaller groups. So it's a little less intimidating to kind of, speak your mind on some of the issues that they're talking about. And the guys are all really good, really inclusive, and they go out of their way to make you feel welcome, and both on the GM side and the people at the league. So yeah, it's been a really good experience.
So we'll end with this: your first trade deadline as GM in the books. Not a huge splash. I don't know that we were expecting one at any point, as your team has, been as consistent as we've talked about. Did you think back to 2018 at all, and how you guys just made sort of one move that helped put you over the top? Michael Kempney, if people are listening, a 3rd round pick. Was that in the back of your mind at all as you go chase this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I actually looked back on a lot of trade deadlines since I've been involved with the team, even going back to George McPhee's days, and some trade deadlines where we didn't do anything, and some where we tried to make a bigger splash. And yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's sometimes you do need to make a big splash. Sometimes doing smaller fringe type things end up being the huge deals for your team. And this year it felt like we could kind of go either way, either direction. What I didn't want to do was part with any of our prospects that we really like, and I didn't want to mess up kind of the vibe of the team too much. So I was just very wary about that, and going after some of the bigger names. And it was definitely there were less sellers than normal this trade deadline, so the prices got high. And I think some of the prospects you saw moving, those are good prospects, and we just didn't feel like the time for us to be moving those types of names. So really happy that we brought in Anthony. He's fit right in with the group and had some really good games for us here. I think it's a really good fit, and will help just give us some added playoff experience and added depth. And then we'll see here at the end of the season on Ryan, and hopefully we'll be good to go and guns blazing heading into the playoffs.
Awesome. Chris, so great to chat with you. Great to meet you as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing the great chase and seeing whether or not Ovi can get it done this season, and also for the playoffs.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
Big thanks to Chris Patrick for taking time during his first NHL general managers meeting to chat with me in Florida, as well as to Caps PRA Sergei Kocherov, who's had his hands full with tons of obligations and media requests recently, certainly during the great chase. I can't wait to watch and see what unfolds in Washington. Incredible drama over the last 3+ weeks of the season with that great chase unfolding. It's like appointment television. It takes me back to my days of youth with Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire challenging for Roger Maris's record. And in some ways, it kind of feels a little bit bigger than that, in the sense that if you're a hockey fan, I'm not sure that any of us believed for a long time that this was a record that was even approachable. I think the fun part when it comes to Alex Ovechkin moving forward is how many more goals will he pile on top of the 895 once he finally breaks it to set the new high water mark in the NHL, and will that ever be challenged? Our Paul Paduti at Daily Faceoff recently pointed out that he thinks there's 3 current players, including Austin Matthews, David Pasternak, and Leon Draisaitl, that have anywhere between an 8 and 12% chance of giving Ovi a run for his money. Can't wait to watch it all unfold. Thanks for joining us this week on Frankly Speaking, which is presented by Betway. If you're going to place a bet, bet on Betway. 18+, please play responsibly.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Saravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.